As long as they're coming. So if they want to boo Floyd, that's great. As long as they love to boo him, which they seem to, and that's fantastic. You know, if they want to root for Big Show, I think pretty much the 70,000 fans will be split 50-50, just based on different reactions around different parts of the country we've been doing. So I'm pumped about that.
Get the boxing fan to watch this event with Mayweather a part of it.
I think some of the boxing fans, you know, which I happen to be one of, you're going to get the outside interest of, just got to watch this. You know, they know it's not Floyd, you know, putting his title on the line, you know, and going after that, you know, potentially with like what he's going to do with Oscar, you know, upcoming and all that stuff. But it's a whole different, you know, aspect for Floyd to be in there. Floyd's a huge entertainer. I mean, the charisma on this kid, I mean, you guys could see it, you know, with his entrances and boxing and everything else. I mean, he's really tailor-made for our business. So we're very thankful he's part of it.
He's a little small for your business, though.
Well, no, we got cruiserweights and all that, but now, you know, he got involved. So, again, we're capitalizing on something that happened, and here we roll.
Did you see any of these old Ted DiBiase videos to kind of do the whole $1 billion man routine?
I did, actually, and that was one of Floyd's favorites. You know, Floyd grew up in Michigan, and he'd been coming to our events for so many years, and I didn't really notice that until after, you know, the Vegas thing, when I went to his house and was just like, hey, you know, maybe we should work on this and capitalize on this. And then he brought out, and he told me his children have like 300 WWE action figures, and that he used to grow up. He wouldn't leave his house back when the action figures were just completely rubber, you know, back in LGN when they first came out in like 87 or whatever. I was like, wow, I mean, he has a huge fan. So to answer your question, he loved Ted DiBiase. To the fact, I just gave him a replica $1 million title. You know, I'm sure you saw it up there. It was the one with all the dollar signs on it. So. No, I think Ted is going to be at WrestleMania, and Floyd was hopefully going to meet him. I think he'll be there at the Hall of Fame this Saturday.
A lot of the old wrestlers, and I'm talking about from the 50s and the 60s, right, and Antonino Rocca and Vittorio Apollo and those guys from those days, they're not really like mentioned much on wrestling, if I understand that right. Is there any reason for that? I mean, in terms of history?
Actually, they are. We have a product called 24/7, and that's, you know, really our cable offering, which is exactly what it is, 24/7. Not yet, but we do a lot of WrestleMania moments, and we're trying to, you know, put in more and more history. We're really trying to find that niche and monetize our library, where the generations you guys, you know, are just mentioning is now brought into this generation and go back to the historical aspects. So we're now really in the process of mining our entire library and putting it all together.
Your style of wrestling is kind of high-flying, and these guys are doing a lot of that acrobatic type. Not I mean you personally. I mean, well, maybe you, but the wrestlers, the WWE. In the old days, they didn't do that as much. I think there's an organization that's kind of going back to that. Does that have any influence on WWE? The thought of that more kind of wrestling type of style? Instead of so high-flying and all that?
Well, I think we have a really good mix, and that's why our product is, you know, in my view, second to none, because we have evolved, and we give a whole taste of everything that's going on. We have more of a ground soldier aspect, which is more of the old school style you're talking about, which you get guys like Triple H, my brother-in-law. He's phenomenal at that. Classic, tell the story, more mat aspect. And then you have like Rey Mysterio. Okay, and then Rey Mysterio is doing the complete acrobatics. So we mix so many different styles because so many have evolved from Japan to Mexico, from Russia, everywhere around, the UK, so the whole European style. And so we blend it all together.
UFC, question for you. Talking about risk and reward, was there a possibility in your mind that there would be a resentment among your very hard-working crew? Wrestlers, I think, are underrated sometimes for, you know, their athleticism and their toughness. Is there any resentment that you felt might occur because they figure Floyd is coming in here and, you know, big footing on their turf? Was that a worry for you, and has that occurred at all?
So that he hasn't earned where he's at now.
Well, I got it. Yes and yes.
Yes and yes.
It has, you're definitely, number one, worried about, you know, Floyd's safety. You know, I mean, things happen. I've been in the ring with Big Show, and literally it's like a jungle gym. You can climb all over, but when he grabs you, it's like grabbing a child. You know, when you throw your kid around and everything, it's like, that's what he can do at will. As it relates to the other guys, of anytime an outside celebrities come into our business, there's always a little resentment, like this is our home. And there's always a little pushback from the guys, but our guys also are smart enough to know that that's bringing so many more eyeballs to them.
Okay.
And that is more of why it is tolerated.
Okay.
UFC has taken a lot of your marketing and packaging ideas. To what extent are they cutting into your fan base?
We haven't seen much. We do a lot of work with UFC and are friendly with the Fertittas and Dana White. So we do a lot of stuff. Actually, there's one guy who just crossed over from our realm, Brock Lesnar, so and we're going to see probably a whole lot more of that. But the fans, what really is happening, what we're seeing with the whole MMA business is it's really starting to take a lot from the boxing aspect. They're getting an older demo. They're getting more of the reality-based fight standpoint. Ours is thankfully insulated, and we're not seeing any erosion in any way of our audience that way. In fact, I think both are helping one another. I'm sorry. I apologize. One thing we do find though is all of us compete for the pay-per-view dollar. So with more competition on there, whether it be boxing, UFC, whether it be WWE or anything else out there, that can be tough.
Now with UFC doing these constant pay-per-view shows,
They do 10. They do 10 a year.
yeah.
People only have X amount of money in their pocket, and that's what do you want to buy?
You do 10 or 12?
We do 14 right now. So you can only dip in your pockets so often. People got to pay rent. They got to put food on the table.
Did you approach Mayweather, or did the Mayweathers approach you about it?
We always wanted to do something with Floyd. Again, I've been a fan of his for a long time. We've talked, because I talked to, fortunately enough, I talked to a lot of guys who want to be part of our business. And there's just so much happened. We always wanted to do a little something. And then when I invited them, I worked through Leonard Ellerby, invited them to Vegas. I'm like, hey, man, let's have some fun. Because they're both Big Show and Florida, so there's publicity hounds. I go, all right, great. You guys want to be in the crowd, hamming up, the back and forth, that thing. And then they got a little carried away. Big Show was at fault as well. So then we capitalized on it. We're like, all right, man, let's roll with this thing. Floyd busted him. I don't know if you watched that tape. Watch it back. That's something we always look into is, because again, it's so analogous to our business. That way we're almost completely saturated the world over. We'd only have a few more countries to go, and then, it's getting better clearances and all the other stuff and really monetizing all that. Once that happens, then we'll probably be looking into, okay, well, what other promotional things that fit right in our wheelhouse? Obviously, boxing, going back to my great-grandfather, who was the fight promoter for Tex Rickard. I always have a huge affinity and love for that. My grandfather did a lot of boxing, and we dabbled in it a little bit. Leonard Lalonde many years ago,
and that didn't do really well.
That was okay, but what we brought there, if you go back and you look at the production aspect, we brought a whole new production back. That'd be the one thing I would challenge anyone who's putting on boxing now is up the production value. I'm a boxing fan, and I hate that one shot always. It's the same thing, looking at the same lighting, blue and the red lights and everything, and then they come down. Put a little more, give me a little bit more for my money.
Did you guys have a way to track pay-per-view numbers for this particular event? Or you
and that's without Floyd. Now, Floyd's obviously the king of pay-per-view right now, so that'd be nice. You have that 2.5 million buy mark come in. That'd be fantastic. So,
what's your record?
So anywhere in between there. Record is $1 million plus.
Is it concerned that it hasn't been a breakout person like a Dwayne Johnson who transcends the WWE recently?
Who?
Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
Oh, The Rock,
or Hulk Hogan, who's gone beyond, in a sense, working the other way, where the wrestler becomes a celebrity instead of the celebrity coming to wrestling.
Sure. Well, it's just a matter of timing. It was the big piece. Then a few years, it took us a while to find the next two guys. The next two guys was Stone Cold and The Rock.
That's right.
Now we have another guy. His name is John Cena. So John Cena is absolutely doing that same transcending, from our business and going outside.
Movie, right? Did he make a movie?
He's making a second one right now.
Is that under WWE auspices? Or
That's
is it
correct.
Okay. Well,
Okay.
The Rock was wanted by studios outside the WWE auspices. The same thing.
No, they only did it because that's how we pushed him that way to get him out. Because we would exactly what you're talking about now.
More after Mayweather, or anything that anybody requesting and so forth?
So many people are requesting.
Anybody that you're serious with?
No, because first we're gonna get through this Sunday and then we'll figure it out. But I have been personally contacted by pretty much every top boxer that you could name to be a part of this promotion.
What about Hollywood?
Hollywood, absolutely.
Anybody? Actors?
Everybody is. You know, I mean, because it's fun. You know.
Richard,
Excuse me.
Did you reach out to De La Hoya about doing WrestleMania?
Yeah, we talked a little bit about, and we were thinking maybe we can capitalize on Floyd and De La Hoya trying to do some certain things, and then Oscar's had a couple issues, so I think he just wanted to stay out of the limelight for a little while. So.
Shane, do you think 10 years ago when Tyson came on WrestleMania 14, he had a huge impact?
Huge.
Some people said that he might have the same impact that Tyson did 10 years ago in the long run.
It's a different landscape, but I think the same result will happen. You know, anytime you involve, I mean, if Tyson sneezed in the day, it was news.